Good morning, everybody. It's your paddling pastor here, and I just wanted to share a video with you of my recent travels and a little bit of a devotion. So, first, I'll just say that it was a good time on the Cherry and the Gauley Crupperneck section, and I had a good time with some good paddlers, and I experienced my very first swim. So, in my almost 5 years of paddling some whitewater, I had my first spill. And so I think it was a pretty good run to start out with. And it was on some pretty easy water, actually, that it happened. I'm not sure really what was going on and how I managed to do it, but I did. And so anyways, yay me. It's out of the way. But let's get into today's message. So I've been studying the Beatitudes and teaching the Beatitudes in class with our kids at church. If you follow me, you might have known that. And let's see. So we've got Matthew 5, verses 9 through 11. It says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when they revile and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so they persecuted the prophets who were before you." I read this, and in the Beatitudes, some of the Beatitudes don't really make a whole lot of sense on the surface, but they are comforting in a lot of ways. So it makes sense that Jesus would say that the peacemakers are the ones that are blessed, but then the other two don't make a whole lot of sense. But there's something that I think is a key to understanding those, and that is the fact that the word peacemakers is used and not peacekeepers. See, God wants us to operate in harmony with one another and in harmony with His plan for our lives and for mankind. And so that is what peace is. And He wants us to go make peace, not just keep peace. Keeping peace is just trying to hold everything together. It's not really evangelistic work. It's not really furthering the kingdom. And that's what He wants us to do, is to go make peace. We don't need to be just peacekeepers, but peacemakers. And if you're going to do peacemaking, well, a little bit of the stuff that happens in verse 10 and 11 here are probably going to occur. You're probably going to have persecutions. You're probably going to have people who say evil against you and make false claims against you and all these things. And Jesus is saying you are going to be blessed if you're a peacemaker, and you're going to be my children, and you're going to be called my children if you are that. And these other things are going to happen, but you're still going to be blessed because they only occur because you're doing my will. So that's important to remember when we encounter those difficulties in life. It also means that we can't just be the peacekeepers. We have to actually go into where there is not peace. And so that kind of takes me into my paddle, right? You don't really understand a peace that passes understanding unless you insert yourself into a situation that doesn't have understanding, and it doesn't have anything that makes sense, and there's not peace. You got to be in an unpeaceful situation to really understand the peace that comes from God. And while we don't like those situations, God wants us to insert ourselves into those types of situations to help be peacemakers. And so, in my paddle, I'm not, we kind of get bored when it comes to long stretches of calm, flat water, right? We're just like, oh, goodness, I don't want all this flat water to have to paddle through. We want to get to the waves. We want to get to the stuff that doesn't look so peaceful, the white water, right? The waters that have been disturbed. And in what happened with my paddle this past weekend, I inserted myself into a situation that was not peaceful. Now, I know that what I flipped my water in did not look anything like the difficult waters that I went through. And nothing was like crazy because I was only doing like a class 3 paddle. It was just a really technical class 3 paddle. But I got through all the most difficult parts and I got to something that really didn't look that bad. And I got flipped upside down. And so I was up against this huge boulder. And I thought, I've never tried to roll my boat before, but I'm going to give this a shot. And so I tried to set up for it, had difficulty, wasn't sure where I was like, okay, this isn't working. So I tried to move. This wasn't working. Okay, I'm not going to waste any time here because I really have never attempted this before. So I pulled my skirt and had to shove the boat off of me. As I was taught, it's kind of like taking a pair of pants off. You pull the thing, shove it off, and I popped up. And I had to be peaceful in that. I had to have a peace that passed understanding to get through it. I had to be in an uncalm situation and make peace to survive. If God's kingdom is going to survive, we have to make peace in the situation. If mankind is going to survive, we've got to learn how to make peace in the situation. And that's why God teaches the things that he does, and that's why Jesus taught this on the Sermon on the Mount. So that is my word of encouragement for you today, is that even though there may be chaos, you can have a peace that passes understanding to get you through that chaos. And don't be afraid to insert yourself into a situation that isn't peaceful. Like, I don't mean to be butting into everybody's business necessarily, but we need to go and try to help make peace where there's not peace in people's lives. And that can be tricky, and I'm not going to get into all those details, but that's what God wants us to do, and we're going to be blessed if we do it, and we're going to be known and called his sons and daughters if we do it. So let's do that. Hope you enjoy the paddle video that comes right after this, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. All right, we're loading up. Hopefully we got everything we need. As you can tell, if you can see my breath. Yeah, it's a little bit cold out here. So anyway, let's try. Got all of our gear, hopefully. And get me a big trash bag to be able to throw it all in the back. All right, so I'm waiting on one guy to load up in my truck so we can haul off to the Fenwick Park or Fenwick Post Office, and we're gonna hop in. We're ready to roll. Awesome, here we are. Time to get started. Probably got about 15 people here. Some of them outfitters have joined us. Others were just WWA guys. So we're getting ready to get started. Cherry Root.